Hello everyone, I'm Babla Jonathan, and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. In our top stories, a landslide has killed 2 persons at the construction site here in the economic capital, Douala. The incident occurred yesterday, and out of the country, South Africans are still mourning anti-apartheid heroine Winnie Mandela, who died at the age of 81. Those were our top stories. Thanks for joining me in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television. 2 persons have died at the construction site here in the economic capital, Douala, notably in the Lokpom neighborhood, Douala 5 subdivision. They were victims of a landslide that occurred while they were digging the foundation of a retaining wall in that part of the city of Douala, and 2 of them died on the spot. There were 4 of them working on the construction site. Senazi report.
2 corpses being conveyed to a mortuary by rescue soldiers in Douala. Relatives in agony. They go inconsolable. Their loved ones are victims of a landslide which occurred at a construction site in the Lokpom neighborhood, Douala 5 subdivision. The deceased persons were digging a foundation to raise an embankment, but gravity caused the collapse of huge quantity of earth on them. They were buried inside the trench they dug for over 4 hours. Their lifeless bodies were retrieved by rescue soldiers, squared by security forces upon alarm raised by 2 other workers at the construction site. Inhabitants and passers-by were gripped by shock and consternation. Daniel Toro Mojunu, one of the unfortunate workers, leaves behind 6 children. Reports say no form of security was put in place at the construction avenue.
Members of the Prescott Issuance Commission, the commission that is led by Severin Chunke, are striving to boost the strength of the Prescott in the Republic of Cameroon. They are trying to improve the quality and also to make sure that the owners benefit from lots of advantages that go with the possession of that important document of identification for journalists in Cameroon. They met in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, yesterday, and under the leadership of the Commission President Severin Chunke, they examined 60 files tabled by journalists desiring to acquire that identification document. Out of the 60 files, 12 were rejected. Here's an extract of Tabe Enonchong. She is a member of the Prescott Issuance Commission.
The President said during the closing of the session that for a telephone company like Orange, for instance, all journalists who already have their cards have a reduction for some complete free calls. Any product you want to buy from Orange Cameroon, be it a modem, be it a telephone, you have a reduction. And recently we equally got into a partnership with SN Brussels for flights. Everybody with a press card has a 15% reduction for every flight they are taking from SN Brussels. It's going to be different. Why didn't you need, if you, like you heard the President say, a list of all those with press cards are already going to be sent to all the structures. If you want to travel to Douala, for instance, or to Marua, there in Mara, the major hotels are going to have those lists so that when you come and you say you're a journalist and you have a press card, it'll be easy for them to verify that you actually have it, so that they can give you the benefits that go with it. So it's just for us to have the cards first, because you cannot have the free subscription in Orange, for instance, if you do not have the card. And if you go to SN Brussels and you do not have the card, you're not going to have the reduction. So when you have the card and you go to all those places that we've been able to have partnerships with, then you're going to have the benefits. But first of all, even as a journalist yourself, you need to identify yourself as a journalist in the midst of everybody, so that we don't find ourselves in a situation where they'll say this person is from STV, this one is from CRTV, this one is from Canada. They just know that this is a Cameroonian journalist and this is what identifies you as a journalist working in Cameroon.
I told you earlier that members of the Prescott Issuance Commission are working hard to ensure that journalists in Cameroon who are in possession of that identification document benefit from a number of advantages cutting across different domains. Now we have an extract of Eno Tabe Enonchong, member of that Prescott Issuance Commission, who elaborates on the benefits of being in possession of a press card in Cameroon.
Examined 60 files. Of the 60, 12 were rejected, 28 were accepted, and 20 others were accepted while awaiting the completion of their files. There are many who sent files that were incomplete. We didn't have things like your contract, things like your insurance, and all those. We did not just reject them completely. We just accepted them. And in the days ahead, they will receive phone calls to come and complete whatever document that they didn't have in their files. When we started, we had a lot of resistance, especially from the private press. But today, I was amazed that a group like Anecdote, we all know Anecdote is a big media house, Vision Card and all of that, were able to meet the files of all the personnel of Anecdote. So we're encouraging every other media house to make sure their workers get the press card, and encourage the promoters of those media houses to provide the necessary documents, because one of the problems most of the journalists have is that they don't have work contracts. Many people who work in the private sector do not have work contracts. So we are encouraging the promoters of these media houses to make sure they get work contracts for their workers, they register them into insurances.
In the report coming up next, we take a look at the impact or the effects of exposing palm oil to sunlight. Some students of the University of Buea carried out a research on this, and also on how ginger can be extracted for better preservation of oil. We have details in this report compiled by Derek Jato in Buea.
Palm oil is the most available oil and widely used, especially in the southwest region. Each day, traders in palm oil exhibit their products in the open and under the sun to entice their already to buy customers. But researchers are worried with palm oil exposed under the sun.
And this oil is rich in beta-carotene, and this beta-carotene is a nutritive nutrient for our own body. So when we expose under the sun kills the nutrient and reduces the color of the oil. That's the first thing. So when the level of toxicity increases, that's when the oil gives that cholesterol.
Zwenda Biteteres Audrey, a senior agronomy student from the Catholic University Institute of Buea, explains why he took the interest to bring her scientific findings on the effect of sunlight on palm oil to the stand during the institution academic fair in Buea.
Because there are so many things that go on around our community. We see them, we think that they are good, but in the long run, we see ourselves going to the hospital and we're sick. We're like, what happened? Why these are the little things that we do unknowingly that cause us these harms. So this is why we carry out various research in our schools to save our community.
And Tsuko Felicitas, from the School of Agriculture studying food science and biotechnology, is researching on how a natural antioxidant can be extracted from ginger for better preservation of vegetable oil.
Some of these synthetic antioxidants that are used to improve the shelf life of oil in our industry causes free radicals in our body. They are causing diseases such as cancer, kidney stones, and liver problems. So therefore, this is why this study is being carried out, because of the importance of ginger extract, which is ginger one, to help to cut down the diseases that will happen in our community.
Reason why, during the institution convocation recently, Professor Roland Deep, the registrar of the University of Buea, the mentor university, saluted the scientific strides of CUIB.
We are very comforted by the degree of teaching,
learning and research. And CUIB focuses on character building, which to them is a factor to achieve Vision 2035.
And so that's why if we have to stop corruption and embezzlement of funds, this is what we should be doing by building character at a higher level, and that will enable our professional nature and the goal of the current president of Vision 2035 to be realized in an amazing way.
Households in Cameroon are lamenting over the skyrocketing prices of tomatoes on markets across the country. Some few weeks back, the prices of tomatoes dropped as low as 2,000 francs CFA per kg of tomatoes, but today it has risen to beyond 11,000 francs CFA, and this is one of the effects of the reopening of Cameroon's borders with some of our neighbors, and much of what is produced in the country in terms of tomatoes are now exported to other countries, and so demand has risen above supply, causing the prices to skyrocket. EQUINOXE reports.
Barely a few months ago, tomatoes inundated markets in Douala as well as other parts of Cameroon due to closing of borders with neighboring countries. The perishable goods, now sold at 10,000, 11,000 and 12,000 francs per basket, was being given to households as gift at the cost of 2,500 and 3,000 francs. Thus, the economic concept, supply greater than demand. Today, this concept has changed to demand exceeding supply. Traders and suppliers attribute the prevailing situation to opening of borders. Desperate business persons in neighboring countries affected by the closure of borders scramble over the perishable to heal their high demand, since they have been relying on Cameroon. Households now need to budget the sum of 800 francs to buy 8 tomatoes.
Les ménagers trouvent ça cher, mais nous n'avons pas de choix.
Affording tomatoes at 100 francs will require negotiation.
La tomate commence à partir de 350 à 500.
Consumers are compelled to buy in order to sell food on the table.
Ce petit tomate que vous allez acheter à 300 francs, et je suis obligé d'acheter même si c'est cher. On va faire comment?
Tomato farmers in Cameroon destine the perishable products to neighboring countries like Equatorial Guinea, Gabon and many others to fetch enough income.
Out of Cameroon, South Africans are still mourning anti-apartheid veteran Winnie Mandela, former wife of late Nelson Mandela, the country's first black president. She died on April 2nd, 2018, and she was buried less than a week ago. And as a way of paying tribute to Winnie Mandela, a room has been furnished at the historic Apartheid Museum in Soweto in her honor, and the room now serves as a tourist site. A special envoy to South Africa visited the museum. Mimi Mefo reports that visitors describe Winnie Mandela as an inspiration. Details in this report.
Winnie Madikizela Mandela has been laid to rest at the Four Ways Memorial Park situated some 40 kilometers north of Southwest Township, Soweto. But to many in South Africa, Mama Nomzamo, known by many as the mother of the nation, lives on.
The spear has fallen. The big tree has fallen. Life will never be the same again. Winnie Madikizela Mandela, mother of the nation, Lala Ngokolo.
At the Apartheid Museum in Soweto, which presents every stage of South Africa's epic struggle against apartheid, is a room furnished with pictures, messages paying tribute to Winnie Mandela. At the entrance of the candlelit dark room is a condolence book where visitors from South Africa and beyond stop by to drop a message. Inside the room, a funeral song also welcomes those coming to pay tribute to Nomzamo Winnie Madikizela Mandela, whom according to South Africans fought and won a battle of the brave during the white minority leadership in South Africa. Inside the museum, where cameras are restricted, I caught up with a man who declared that Winnie Mandela is an icon and that visiting the showroom is also an inspiration.
How does it feel to be here in this museum to see the images of Winnie Mandela?
Yeah, it makes me feel so inspired. I feel, like right now I feel I'm part of the story. Being here makes me feel I'm part of the story.
According to many, having visited the Apartheid Museum and paid tribute to Winnie Mandela is an achievement.
A special envoy to South Africa's staff lady Mimi Mefo, ending this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox television from Soweto. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.